Hello, New Wave of British Heavy Metal.com here. It's the 27th of January 2021. Before we look at White Spirit, if I may make the usual opening request for a favour, and that if you would please subscribe to the channel, that'd be excellent, really would. Anyway, White Spirit is a name from the good old New Wave of British Heavy Metal days, late 70s, early 80s, that add that to the long list of bands that had it all apart from success. I mean, what White Spirit really were something special in my eyes. I mean, I still play this album, well, frequently. Let's put it that way. Probably too frequently, but anyway. White Spirit, what a band they were. Weren't around long. One album, here it is. Phenomenal stuff. They came from up in the northeast of England, around Hartlepool, I think it was. And although they were tagged with that New Wave of British Heavy Metal moniker, that was probably more due to timing rather than musical style. Because although White Spirit certainly did rock hard, it probably wasn't exactly what might be deemed heavy metal. But what it certainly was skillful, well-arranged stuff that showed many influences. Most noticeably, you had a then very young Mr. Yannick Gers on guitar, who of course would go on to play with Gillan for a while after White Spirit folded, and of course has been in Iron Maiden for the past, I don't know, 30 years or so. You know, what a guitar player he proved to be back then. You know, the talent was always there, the promise, and of course he went on to bigger and much better things. We got Malcolm Pearson on the keyboards with that swirling keyboards to give that proggy edge to it. Some really inspired drumming, and overall you've got a bit of a mixture of period Rush, Uriah Heep, Deep Purple. You're probably not too far off if you think of it as a sort of a mishmash of those three bands from around the same time. Even without a record deal back then, White Spirit were a big draw up in the northeast, very popular, and they did put out a single, I think it was in 1980, Backs to the Grind, excellent stuff, punchy, to the point, no problem there. And they were on the bill, and a little bit more New Wave of British Heavy Metal history for you. They did get on the bill of the legendary heavy metal barn dance at the Bingley Hall in Stafford, and they even went on from that to be on the bill at that year's Reading Festival. I mean, for those of you that might remember Bingley Hall, huge, big, cavernous, well, basically an big old cowshed. Always cold, on the outskirts of Stafford, shocking acoustics, but it was big. And barn dance, well, I'll do a video on that another time. But back to White Spirit. Despite that barn dance appearance and despite Reading Festival, you know, they would go on to get signed for MCA, big label, put an album out, and said that despite a major label, couple of high-profile festival slots, and a marvelous first album, it just didn't work out for him. As good as that album is, the opening riff of the first song, Midnight Chaser, you know you're onto something a bit special. It's hard, it's punchy, it's riffy, it's got a lot, and particularly when Gers cuts loose in the solo, it's fantastic stuff. You know, Deep Purple, similar, couldn't have done any better than that. Fantastic stuff. And then it's classic after classic, really. Check out in particular Red Skies, which is a bit spacey, a bit proggy, a bit heavy, a bit out there, a bit sci-fi, sort of like White Spirit's answer to War of the Worlds. Bit of a mini epic, and there's some marvelous drumming on there as well, and some well placed keyboards. And Gers again shows what a talent he was and what he would go on to be. The album, as good as it was and as well touted as it was, it didn't sell particularly well. MCA kinda lost interest. White Spirit lost momentum, particularly when Gers got the call from Ian Gillan and went off to replace Bernie Tomei and Gillan. The singer, what was the singer's name? I can't remember immediately. Anyway, never mind that. He went as well. It'll come back to me. I'm very old now and my memory slips. Singer went, a new guitar player came in, and the new singer was none other than Brian Howe, and someone else that would go on to be a big name. Of course, he sang with Ted Nugent and most noticeably Bad Company. But White Spirit never got going after that first album. As good as it is, and what a shame it is. My old vinyl copy from the old days, long since worn out. A few years ago, the album was reissued by, was it Sanctuary Records, and there was a version of that came with a bonus disc of like demos and some stuff that Brian Howe was singing on and whatnot that never saw the light of day back then. If you can still get hold of the CD, it's practically impossible to find these days. If you can get hold of it, particularly with that extra disc, do so. You might have to pay a few quid for it, but in my mind, it's certainly worth it. If not, if you can't get the CD, I've checked this morning, and the digital version, or whatever the hell you call it, is on Amazon Music. I've put links to both the CDs on Amazon as well, but I think it's about 95 quid, so you might not want to do that. But I've put a link below to that in the description anyway, and also to the Amazon Music digital version, or whatever the hell that is. I still don't understand it. So you can check it out if you would like to. But White Spirit, what a band! Such a shame they didn't go on to more stuff. And even to this day, 40 odd years later, still sounds fresh every time I listen to it. Anyway, as I said, those links are below to the ridiculously expensive CD or the digital version on Amazon. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That would be excellent. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care.